From a young age, Carrie was an adventurous spirit interested in expressing her creative nature in any way she could. It was in Paris where she discovered her true love for fashion, and soon after, she launched her very own fashion company, which allowed her to carry out her passion, empowering women and exuding confidence.
My perception of beauty is that every single woman or person is absolutely flawless. Society and media has perpetuated a certain image.
Rather than have women fit her dresses, Carrie's line of clothing is custom made to fit working women of all shapes and sizes. Carrie took her groundbreaking vision one step further during New York Fashion Week in 2014, where she made history by using role models as opposed to traditional models during her runway show.
Right now the trend is very Eastern European looking, gaunt, very straight, and that's not very realistic for most women. And I think it's a really bad message to send to women and definitely young girls that this is the ideal body type.
The event launched Carrie into the mainstream spotlight and introduced the world to Danielle Shaypuck. Dr. Danielle Shaypuck, to be exact. A licensed clinical psychologist by day, Danielle specializes in issues related to sexuality and dating among the disabled community.
I met Carrie Hammer at a United Cerebral Palsy luncheon. I remember Carrie's first comment to me. She commented on my Louboutin booties that I was wearing, and she called me the Carrie Bradshaw of people in wheelchairs. So with that, I was in love with her.
It was like electricity. Everyone else was like trying to talk to us, and we were just like sitting next to each other and like couldn't stop conversation. So I asked her, I was like, I'm gonna ask you a really not PC question. Can you have sex? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, can you have an orgasm? She's like, 100%. Just considered her like any other one of my girlfriends.
When she decided to use role models instead of runway models, she immediately thought of me.
When it came to casting role models, she was just an obvious choice. And not because she was in a wheelchair. She was a role model to me, a doctor, a powerful, beautiful woman who happened to be in a wheelchair.
My first experience was amazing, and I would say the best descriptor is exhilarating. I mean, I just felt like every other model there. And Carrie and we talked about that because I didn't want to be like the token girl in the wheelchair. You know, it was about integrating disability and fashion in a seamless way. That's what we strove to do, and I think we accomplished it very well.
Oh my God, the day of was so electric. And the second she turned the corner and went on the runway, everyone told me they had goosebumps.
I remember making the turn from the runway, from behind the scenes onto the runway, and I could just feel all the lights of the cameras, and I could see all the people, and I heard the music, and I just was like, yeah, this is my chance to change the way fashion looks at people with disabilities.
Your little thigh action at the end of the runway?
Yeah.
It was almost a little too risque, but just like right on the line. It was perfectly sexy and risque and unexpected, but very on brand. So
I know.
Good job. Cheers to that.
One of my friends texted me, and he's like, I love your peekaboo thigh.
Between her and I, we probably have over 100 emails from women and mothers with children with disabilities saying thank you so much. We've never felt included. This is the first time we felt beautiful. Everything was worth it when I've gotten those emails.
I've thought about this a lot, and just growing up with a disability, I feel like I never had a role model in terms of dating and sex and intimacy and fashion. As a psychologist, I deal with issues of dating and sex in people with disabilities because it's a very ignored topic. So I felt excluded in that area, and I felt excluded in fashion. You know, I always look through magazines, and I never saw anyone with a disability, and the subtle message there is, you're not a part of this. So I feel like I want to be that role model. I want to be a role model to someone like me, like the role model that I never had to look up to. So I take it very seriously. And since Carrie's show, I feel like I've been bestowed that label, and I hold it to the utmost importance, and I'm doing my best. I was another role model who happened to be in a wheelchair. That's all it was. And I hate when people just assume that, or, oh, it's just the wheelchair. No, why can't I be a model in a wheelchair? The response since the show has been what we expected, but more. And I feel that the world has waited with bated breath for this moment when disability merges with fashion.
Yeah. We should say that. To world domination.
Wait, that's kind of arrogant. Okay.
No, who
To
cares?
killing shit.
No,
to world domination.
We wouldn't say that. We always say to world domination. To world domination. The past 2 years, I've been handing out flowers on my birthday with notes that say pass on the flower or an act of kindness. But this year we want to launch an initiative where everyone gives away on their birthday. It's called Birthday Gives, and it's all about gives instead of gifts on your birthday.